about music, education, technology, teaching, and the future of learning. Brought to you by Solfeggio. I am Gillian Desmarais, a music teacher from Pioneer Charter School, which is in Everett, 20 minutes north of Boston. I'm also a graduate student at NYU, and I'm super excited to be here today with Czarina. She is a beautiful music educator, elementary music teacher, and she is very famously known for her at Little Upbeat Class, which is her Instagram tag. If you follow her, awesome. If you don't, then you should. So we're here to speak with her about her incredible mantras and ideals for her classroom and everything new that's going on. Czarina, we're so happy to have you here today.
Thanks. I'm really excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So let's just jump right in. So I want you to tell us a little bit about who you are and where you teach.
All right. So my name is Czarina Jimenez. I am an elementary music teacher and choir teacher. I teach pre-kindergarten through fourth grade, general music, classroom music, and then I teach fifth and sixth grade choir. And I teach out in Southern California at a school in Loma Linda.
Beautiful. Yes. Elementary music is amazing. I was an elementary music teacher for a year, and those kids, you can't get those smiles out of your head. They just no matter how
it's wild.
Yeah. No matter how bad of a day you're having.
I'm in my 7th year. I'm starting my 7th year now. And so the students who were like 5th and 6th graders when I first started, now they're like in high school and they're like these they're people.
Oh my gosh. And they come to you.
But now they're like big people. And I'm just like, they warm my heart. I love them so much. So it's just really exciting to be able to see, my students grow from like youngins to to have them for so long is really cool.
Yes, that's it. That's the magic right there. Awesome. So what are some songs that you find that resonate with you and with your students? Which ones do you think of all of them that you've taught or listened to?
All right. So I will choose 2. Yes. Okay. So one is A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. And I love that song. Of course, for the pure musicality of it, but then also because there's so much that we can dive into and unpack, especially with, just pushing the conversation in the direction of like equity and justice within music. My students are just, really thoughtful when they look at those lyrics and think to themselves like, okay, when was this written and how is it still applicable now? And then of course, it's just a gorgeous song, the way that it's orchestrated and the melody line and all of it. And so there's so much that we do with it. So that's one of them. And then, so I write songs for fun. And I know that you kind of mentioned that on my Instagram. And so recently I shared one at the beginning of quarantine that I wrote called The Community Song. And that one was just really special. I wrote it for my students because I wanted them to know that no matter like the way that we were learning, whether it was in person or virtual, because it was definitely virtual and we were apart from each other, that we were still a community and that I still cared and that I still love them and that I'm, wanting them to still feel connected even while we are doing that weird distance learning thing. And that was really cool because then that resonated with so many other teachers and their students, and they shared it with their classrooms. And so that was really special for me to see.
And if you haven't checked her self-care songs out, you need to go check them out. They're so great. They're little ditties. They're songs that get stuck in your head. They're songs that you want to sing to your children, whether they're your actual children or they're someone else's children. They're so great. And they're so wholesome because they're topics that kids don't have a chance to sing about. A lot of popular music surrounds like dramatic romances and conflicting things. And, her songs are about empathy and kindness but even like a step above, the normal songs that exist. Like they're just so true and so sincere, and we love them. So definitely check them out at Little Upbeat Class. They're on her Instagram page right now. Well, actually not right now. Finish this and then go check it out. Sweet. I love that. So getting into musicians and educators that inspire you, please tell us from your work to your life, who resonates with you the most, or a few people.
Okay, this is a list. I wrote it down.
Yes.
So I wouldn't forget. Well, and it's hard because there's so many people that I would love to name, and I'm a total name dropper. Like I get so excited. I want to hype everybody up.
Go for it.
But if I had to narrow down, because we are on a time limit, I can't, name everybody for the next 20 minutes. Like I would. I mean, so when I first started sharing about music education online and on Instagram, I didn't see any other music teachers that I really connected to or clicked with. And I mean, just from, I guess from face value at first, I'm a woman of color. And so I didn't know any other elementary music teachers that were a reflection of me. And in addition to that, I didn't see any other music educators at first. And this is like back in 2017. So this is a couple years ago. They weren't having the conversations that I wanted to have about music, conversations around equity, justice, bringing in curriculum that was culturally responsive. I didn't see that being the forefront of conversation. I don't want to make the assumption about teachers and what they do in their classroom, but in terms of what was being, shared and spoken about on Instagram, on social media, I didn't see that. And so I really felt kind of lonely. And so what ended up happening was I ended up clicking with classroom teachers and Montessori teachers who were having those conversations. And so from the get-go, and all these teachers are on Insta, Britt Hawthorne and Tiffany Jewell, those two women were just so monumental in helping me unlearn and learn things that really changed the way that I approached education and approached teaching. And they're two like Montessori-based teachers. And, it was just really cool to also learn from a different perspective because I had no idea what Montessori was. And I'm still like learning things about it because I don't teach within that context. But to me, it's just fascinating and brilliant. And then after that, two more teachers that I connected with that also continued opening my mind and just broadening my horizons on things are Liz Kleinrock and Sky Tulip. And the two of them are also on Insta, and they were just, they just do such amazing work, all four of them, around anti-bias and anti-racist education. And to me, that is huge and so necessary for us to intentionally and purposefully implement into music education. Because, music is culture, and the two, they're just inextricably tied together. And we have to be able to see that in order to teach all of our students. And then I found my music teachers, and I'm so excited. So yeah, I know. I'm not like this like lonely music teacher anymore, hanging out with like all the classroom teachers.
Right.
Like, you guys, let's sing a song together.
Right, exactly. So true. So true.
I know. So, right. Like, we just want to sing a song. And so now I'm just like really excited because now there's no hiding from the conversation. Like the door's been like blown wide open. It's all over the news. Like it's at the forefront of, society right now in this moment. And so it's really exciting to me because I want this conversation to be had by music educators. There are three teachers who really, to me, exemplify culturally responsive curriculum and, creating space for students to explore and bringing in contemporary styles into the classroom. And those three are Franklin Willis, F. Willis Music, I think is his handle, and then Carissa Duncanson at Music with Miss Dunk, and then Alice at Music with Miss Alice. The three of them are just, to me, just phenomenal teachers, and I just learned so much from them. And then finally, because like self-care songs, being having just like an optimistic mindset. Um, Bettina Love, who is an educator that talks with the Foundation of Abolitionist Education, something that's new to me that I'm learning about, um, has this quote where it's you have to live as if your winning is just around the corner. So even though we don't see necessarily the fruits of our labor right away, which is as musicians, that's hard because we want the performance after the practice. Like we want to see
For sure.
we want to see that on stage, like ready to go. It's important to know that there are things that we just need to continue, cultivating and planting, even if we don't exactly see it come to fruition right away. And so to keep that optimism and that mindset going for me, there are two teachers who I really just, am grateful to be connected with. And that is Jackie, genuinely Jackie. And she is transitioning into being full-time mindset coach, which is really cool. And then Taylor of the Chronicles of Teacher Tay. And he's always just sharing just really thoughtful conversation points, but then also just really funny and it's just always making me laugh. And so
Yeah.
to me, that's really important too, because like the work that we do, we're always pouring our heart and soul into the work that we do. And it's important to also have that piece of joy, and keeping that also very, very much at the forefront of everything that we do. So those are the teachers.
In terms of musicians, is there anyone specifically now what's your primary instrument?
So my primary instrument is voice. And then second to that is piano. So when I was in college, I studied voice as my primary instrument, and then piano is the second one. And then I did like percussion as just like a band student all through high school and college. Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. So, nice. So you have like the rhythmic background, but now you have like a melodic background too. And with the accompaniment on the you could pretty much be a one-woman band if you wanted to.
Which if I wanted to, but thankfully I don't have to.
Right? You have a whole set of kids who can jam along with you, right? So is there anyone in terms of like musicians that you are really guided towards? Maybe share the same visions as all of these other educators that you're interested in, or people that you just enjoy listening to or singing along to or performing music of their style?
Let me think. In terms of performing, I really love jazz. I think that's one of the styles that I have the most fun. Not playing piano, I have no idea the first way to play it. I was all classically trained for piano. I have no idea what to do if there's no music in front of me. But
that's so interesting. So, but jazz is the complete opposite. It's like, all right,
it's
like here's a lead sheeter.
It is so technical. Yeah. But in your mind. And so for me, like that as a pianist, everything's technical out in front of my eyes. On the paper, I see what it is. And then jazz, I did jazz vocals through college, and that's like super technical, but with your ear first and your brain before your eyes.
Love that. So,
yeah. And so that was just like a different mental shift. But I love, singing jazz like a ton is really fun.
Do you do jazz with your students at all or no?
That is actually, I've taught them a couple songs, but not really diving into it. I think one of the favorite things that I do is, let's see, what grade level? I do It Don't Mean a Thing with my first graders.
Really? How does it go?
It is, oh my word, like that it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. And then just getting them to do the doo-wop part is like the funniest thing.
Oh.
Because sometimes at first they don't know how many times to sing it. And so we literally have to count it out. Like it's like 7 or 8 times, and they'll count out with their fingers.
And there's
always that keep one singing doo-wop and it won't stop. They'll just keep going.
There's that one kid that always just keeps going, right?
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's count. Okay. Doo-wop, 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 doo-wop.
Yeah. They'll just keep going. Oh man, jazz and choral music. Those are the two that are just my heart. Just that's the song. The genres in my heart is jazz and choral music.
Beautiful.
So yeah, any really good like choir music. I mean, of course, like I don't know, like Eric actually, Lauritsen is one of my favorite choral composers. And
Oh,
then
okay.
in terms of like choir groups, the Oakwood Aliens, like aliens, not aliens,
Oh, I see.
they're outstanding. I've
Smart.
always fangirled over them ever since high school. Yeah. And
Awesome.
I don't know. Oh, and for pop, like for contemporary music, Brass Tracks. I'm a huge fan of Brass Tracks.
Brass Tracks.
Yes,
Tell
they
us
are. Yeah.
who is Brass Tracks?
Oh, they're just like a duo. It's a drummer and a trumpet player, but they're also producers and
Cool.
yeah. And I don't know. And I love the way that they open their platform, and also the way that they like take a stance on things. But their music is really fun for me.
It's really fun. Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that kind of runs the gamut. It's a lot.
Yeah. You know, when you
things.
said chorus and jazz, the first thing I thought of was Jacob Collier. Because I was like, he is all
my
about
word. I
win-win.
saw him at my husband and I went to one of his shows during our honeymoon. It was like the greatest thing. Yeah. It was so cool. We were, oh my word, I know. It was amazing. I was mind blown. My husband's a drummer.
Yeah.
And so the two of us will just like go really deep into music.
Oh,
like
yeah.
We'll sit in the car and we'll be like, I'll look at him, I'll be like, what time signature is this?
Or are you the couple that hears like a pitch coming from a siren or like a mechanical device? Like, is that the pitch of the microwave? Is it an A or is it a...
Yeah. We do all the rhythmic stuff.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I have, yeah, because we're both percussionists. So we'll look at each other and we'll be like, hey, notate that. Like, what's the rhythm of that? What's the time signature of that? Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That's our embarrassing music.
Let's just hope you don't have like a woodpecker on the side of your house. It would drive you guys crazy. Yeah.
It would drive us wild.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know Jacob Collier, like, I swear that kid is going to be in our textbooks in like 15 years.
100%.
You know, and it's all his like semitone. It's really cool. He also has a great podcast that he does with, I have to find it, but it's a pop podcast and they feature him on there. And he talks about how he figured out a way to perform live streaming in time. And that, you know how it's been the most difficult thing? Like,
my word,
there's always latency. There's always a timing difference. The way to change that is you have to play like a half step, or not a half step, rather, not musically, but timing wise, you have to play like a half a beat before the actual beat. So he did a duo with Tori Kelly, and he was talking about how he was playing the downbeat of the piano like a half beat before, and she was just going with the regular timing of the music, and everything was in time. And so it was just like astronomical to figure this out. And he goes on to say, you know, I wasn't going to wait for technology to get better, to get good enough. Like, humans are adaptable. We can figure it out, you know? So I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, this is great, you know? And maybe we can find a way to kind of synchronize our performances, as awkward as it is, you know, maybe there's a way. It won't feel right for the people actually on either side, but it'll sound great to everybody else.
It'll sound great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm going to let the timer now. Let me breeze through a couple more questions.
Yes.
It's okay if we run past 20 minutes. So because self-care songs, let's get back into that. What motivated you to start writing those self-care songs? And how has music helped your life?
Okay, so I've always written songs as a form of journaling. Every pivotal moment, whether positive or negative in my life or just in the world in general, I kind of realized that I have a song for. And the self-care song started because there was a moment where I was supposed to accompany for a group. And just out of the goodness of my own heart, I wasn't being paid for it or getting any compensation at all. And turns out they didn't show up to anything. And so I was waiting for like hours. It was a Friday. I just wanted to go home. And I got so frustrated because I really did feel taken advantage of. Then also realizing too, though, I hadn't set my own boundaries. And I feel like as music educators, you know, musicians and teachers, quite often we overextend ourselves. We really want to help. And it's, you know, sometimes comes to a point where we don't set those boundaries. And for me, that was a huge learning moment. And so while I was waiting for this group to show up, which they didn't, I sat down at the piano and wrote a song called No. And that was the very first self-care song. It was literally me just singing No. Um, and I shared it online just for kicks and giggles. And all of my teacher friends started responding like, oh my goodness, this is my new ringtone. Is there more to the song? Um, and it just really resonated with so many of them. And after that song, I kind of started challenging myself to write songs that are less than a minute of things, just like lessons or self-care reminders that I needed personally for myself or were inspired by my friends. And so there's one on drinking water. There's one on taking a nap and turning your alarm clock off on the weekend. And then as I started writing more, it started kind of expanding more into community care songs. Self-care and community care, they need to go hand in hand. We need to, of course, take care of ourselves, but with the purpose of also bringing that wholeness back into the community that we are part of. And then that translated into songs like, the community song, or more recently, the song that I wrote called Empathy, which also, inspired by current events, is a reminder that we do need to have empathy for people whose life experiences are just wildly different from ours. And as human beings, we need to learn how to listen and, learn before we formulate an opinion on somebody else's life. Because, that's not our place to do that ever. And we just need to learn how to be compassionate and empathize, especially when we have no idea what that life is like personally.
Absolutely.
And so really that's kind of how it started, and it's kind of evolved into this, into this little special thing that I'm just really excited to continue doing, just purely for the fun of it, but then also, for the just being grateful that people resonate with it too. So yeah, currently recording some of them and producing some of them with my husband and one of our friends. So that'll be really exciting.
That's awesome.
I haven't really talked about it too much. Kind of been keeping it under wraps just because we want to make sure that we know what we're going to do with it once we're done.
Right.
But that's a thing. That's a new thing since quarantine.
Great.
Is getting into that. But yeah, music has been huge. I mean, I've always been a part of music. Yeah.
Yeah. Is your husband he's a musician. Is he like a educator, or is he a gigger?
He's an educator. He's a drummer and he teaches. So he's a full-time musician. Yeah.
So you guys can talk about music, talk about education. That's amazing. That's like the perfect, really the dream cool relationship.
It's really fun.
That's awesome. I totally, again, love all of your self-care songs. And if you want to listen to them, you need to follow her. It's not just a choice to just find her profile, look through them, and then see ya. You have to follow her because she's consistently posting relevant material for education, and then her own compositions, which are just fruitful and beautiful. And yeah, they're just,
thank you.
It's awesome stuff. So thank you. Yes, thank you. And then one last question. For people who are stuck at home and we're still kind of working through quarantine, what are some things that you are better educating yourself about as a musician and as a teacher?
All right. As a musician, I've been having fun just listening to, getting to listen to albums and songs that I didn't have a chance to. Realizing that my Apple TV has Spotify on it so I can play music on the TV has been really fun.
Beautiful.
And yeah, that's been really fun. Playing piano just for kicks, not, because it's a song that I have to play for my choir students and accompany them with, but just purely because I want to learn this song, has been really enjoyable.
Learning jazz piano.
Teaching jazz piano to myself. I think as an educator, definitely, that was a tongue twister. Definitely, trying to, I guess, push my understanding and application of anti-racist and anti-bias teaching. Lately, the concept of abolitionist teaching is something that I'm learning that's new to me. And Bettina Love, who I mentioned a little earlier, has a book that I'm reading, as well as a ton of videos on YouTube, like webinars and stuff, which I have also learned that I can watch on my TV, which is really fun because for like I know the first like 3 months of quarantine, I was watching it like everything, like webinars, like everything on my tiny phone screen or on my computer screen, which my eyes are so tired. So I guess the last suggestion I would make would be blue light glasses for everybody.
Everybody just shut down.
For everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to, because imagine what our generation we're all gonna need.
Oh goodness gracious. We're gonna have the thickest eyeglasses when we're little grannies. It's gonna be hilarious.
Oh yeah. Ophthalmologists will be preparing those all for us, right? For free. Wink wink, for free.
Exactly.
Awesome. And I think that pretty much like wraps it up, right? Talked about musicians, talked about educators. Again, if you want to check her out, which I highly recommend, please go to her Instagram page at Little Upbeat Class. Right? That's right.
Yes.
And yeah, and follow her. If you want to check out what I'm doing, you can find me at Gillian Marie Music. That's Instagram or Facebook, whatever. And we were so happy and lucky to have you here with us today. Solfeggio and their team was beaming that you were able to join us. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your inspiration with everyone. And I hope we can do this again soon.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care, Czarina.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.